Now make them all forget the Rastarati. You see it? I am that I am, he declared out. And now Christ living man, we became gods. Look at your success, all of what fame got. Why you still out there, suffering brain rot? Warm and easy, just like that.
Alright, so what are you feeling and thinking of in this moment after hearing that song?
Well, you know what I mean, in that moment it's just bringing people to an awareness of what is out there, you know. Whole heap of traps set up to capture heart, mind and soul, you know what I mean? And we have to be vigilant in this time to kind of become self-aware and create our own protection system for, you know, the mind, body and the spirit right now, you know, with awareness, because awareness brings light in dark places, you see me?
Right, and so protecting our minds from being
Hijacked. Yeah.
Right. Great. And in this song you mentioned I am that I am. And so can you expound on that?
Well, I am that I am is, as Rastaman say, I and I is just within the same term of, you know, this embodiment of God within I and I. You know, it's coming to a certain awareness that God is always operating through us, in us, as us, through us, you know? And it's coming into this full self-realization of, you know, we're always a vessel of, you know, this consciousness and this knowing, you know, of who the I am really is, and the power of it as well.
And so you mentioned, you know, brain rot and minds being programmed by media and things like that. What do you do to stay grounded or to maintain clarity in these times?
Well, in these times, so for me personally, to maintain a certain clarity, I have to always keep connected to this God consciousness within I and I that is keeping me rooted in my faith, within my belief system, and within the things that I have to do on a day-to-day basis in my life. You know, we have to always remember that we in this world, and there are things that we must do to sustain this life that we have within this body. So prayer, meditation, connection with nature, keep that connectiveness with, you know, the ones around us we love and care, and being able to have a certain self-expression that we are able to share what is going on the inside with the outside world. So I stay connected through, you know, just being aware of what's going on the inside, and doing a certain kind of practicing a certain kind of way of life.
Right. And so to be aware of what's in your inner world, you obviously have to spend time there. So what are some of the things that you do to spend time in your inner world?
Some of the things that I do to spend time in the inner world, as I say, you know, I stay connected with nature, being on the outside, you know what I mean, keeping myself grounded physically, you know, by, you know, doing things, you know, in the, you know, walking barefoot for me, it helps, as well as I do practice a certain type of inner awareness through meditation. I also, you know, pray, sing, chant, beat my drum, do sound bath meditations, you know, and participate in that on a community level as well. You know, I fellowship with my brothers and sisters who are around within my community. I am around family, you know, and you know, having this kind of support system around is also good grounding for me as well. You know, because you know, what I mean, no man is an island, and you know, when you have like someone in your life as a partner, or you have a group of people as family and friends that keep you grounded, because you know, times when I can fall short, or when I have a different perspective, they can balance that with their perspective, you know, and it's all a learning process for me. So these are some of the things that bring me to a certain kind of inner awareness, you know, and knowing fundamentally that there's a God within me that is operating in me, you know, and through me, and being aware of this power and this life that is within I and I, as this self-expression of Rseenal, Rowan, Dan Rasta. You know, I have to stay true to that and operate from the core of who I am as a person. And you know, and this is inspired by that spirituality, that God, as I would refer to, within me, you know, that divine consciousness and that awareness, you know. So I use awareness and consciousness in this way, but I don't want it to be in a cliche way. And I use God in this way, but I don't want it to be in a cliche way. You know, why I refer to these things as the knowing of what my essence is. And I refer to it as the God. I refer to it as the awareness. I refer to it as the consciousness. But it truly boils down to, who am I? Within taking away this body, taking away this flesh, what is the essence of I and I? And that is what I would refer to as the God, the awareness, the consciousness, because that is how I feel connected to the unseen realm, through this kind of information feed coming through as this expression of me talking to you right now on the camera. You know, so that is the God consciousness for I and I. And a lot of people refer to it as the Christ consciousness. Christian people refer to it as the Holy Spirit. You know, and across many other religion or indigenous practice,
It's the I am.
it's the I am. You know, so that's basically it. You know.
And so, as we were talking about what are the things that keep you grounded, you know, would you agree that songs with messages like this that just cut through the noise with such clarity, and you know, claiming such things about, you know, mass media manipulation, blood drinking, pedophilia, you know, would you say these things also help keep you grounded as an anchor?
Absolutely, because then, you know, it all boils down to what is your direction in life, what is your purpose, what is your resonance, you know. And I know, as the person that I am, inherently I am a good person. My purpose is to help facilitate the upliftment of people. I love people. I'm a people person. I want to see people live to their full potential, just as I want to see me living up to my fullest potential. So, you know, there is a lot of things out there, and there's a lot of oppressive things out there that trap people within a certain matrix of behavior, of activities, of habits, of lifestyle that is self-destructive. And you know, we have to realize that if it's not self, as I said before, awareness, it brings light into darkness. You know what I mean? It shows you what's happening happening in places that you couldn't see before. So when you become aware and this light starts shining and you start seeing things that need to be fixed and adjust, then you will realize, you will start develop a certain kind of regenerative behavior and not degenerative behavior. You know what I mean? You're not becoming self-destructive. You're making intentional moves, and you're acting out of a certain kind of awareness now, a certain kind of knowing, a certain kind of intelligence which guide you to bringing out the best of who you are. So
you're like evolving and not devolving.
Exactly. You know, so this in itself is a way that I utilize my energy to make it constructive and to make it, you know, make it be a positive in my life, and also as an example to even my youths them, because I have to think in that way now, and I have to think in a way of the legacy that I have to create, and the legacy that I have to leave for them. You know, so there are foundations now that I have to stand on and build that can carry on my lineage into the future, you know?
Leaving your mark in time, and people, by the legacy you left, can continue to be inspired and also know clearly what you stood for. And just like with Marcus Garvey and Haile Selassie, we know what they stood for, and so we wear them on our garments, and we keep that memory alive. And so
yeah, and you know, it's great that you mentioned Marcus Garvey and even and Haile Selassie, because you know they are a fundamental part of what keep I grounded, because you know Haile Selassie, you know, with the I and the I am, he represent this kind of divinity that I am able to tap into within I and I own self too, because I am now able to see the king within I and I self, and I am now able to see the divinity, my own divinity, you know what I mean? And it's not looking outward to the God in the sky, or the God in the this, or the God in the that, but looking more inward to this God essence within I and embodying that. As well as Marcus Garvey, you know what I mean? Marcus Garvey is one that teaches I about self-confidence and self-reliance and coming into oneself, you know, and these are teachings that fundamentally start at my own self-realization, you know.
And not only through your musical legacy, you also do visual arts, and you paint and you draw and you express these concepts and other things through your visual art. So you also did the album art for this song.
Yes.
So did you make this art for this song? What came first?
The art came first, you know, because you know, I mean, I made the art first, but the idea was always there, you know, and it so happens that the art inspired the song in more ways than one, you know, because we look at on the art, you know what I mean, you see a collage of different scenarios of what's going on in the world. You see that there's conscious in the world, and you see that there's always confusion and all these things in the world, but there is also a certain kind of order within all of this chaos, confusion, activities. There is also a certain kind of flow in the art. You know, it represents a certain type of flow and a certain type of symbology that shows that there is a divine intelligence operating in all of this confusion. So I think that it was like most appropriate to use this piece of art to, as the cover art for this song, because right now with all the things about Epstein and P Diddy and all these things, and you see people just straying from their fundamental belief, and this get rich or die trying mentality, it supersedes their belief system, and so enough of them get trapped, enough of them get used, enough of them get degenerate into something that it's beyond what you could think. So, and and a lot of people become surprised when they hear the news of people just all falling in these situations and becoming victim to all these things, because they people use them up, and people the system set up like that. And the vampire is always there to suck blood, and always there to manipulate and tear down and use who for use and spit out. So, we realize that this system is there, but there is also the knowing of, if I truly believe in my mission, and if I truly believe in my message, then that in itself will be what resonate with the people, with with also proper business practice as well. I am an advocate for proper business practice, but having this authenticity and having this I would say structure around your message, it will surely reach places, and you don't have to compromise your message to please the media or to please the narrative of all these people, who's there to exploit.
It's lyrically great.
So
it's a yeah.
And you don't have to water down the message. You don't have to, you don't have to sell your soul to be heard or to be seen. You just move and push on your works, because there's so many that went before us and have a strong message and remain authentic and true to themselves, and they were able to make it successfully, with proper business practice, of course, but in this, and we have to big up Iya Ingi on this one.
That's what I was gonna say.
Me have to big up Iya Ingi.
This is a collaboration that was actually brought to you by Iya Ingi, is that right?
Well,
tell us how the rhythm came into your life, and actually go into a little bit about the rhythm.
All right, Brilly and Silver Diamond, I don't know them personally. That is Iya Ingi's producers, and Iya Ingi linked me with the rhythm. The rhythm, the name of the rhythm, I don't remember.
Well, let's go back. How do you know Iya Ingi?
But no, Iya Ingi we were like on university campus, right? As
in Jamaica.
Kingston, Jamaica.
Okay.
This is around 97.
Okay.
I got into 2000, right? And Iya Ingi was one of them fire artists. That was around the time when Sizzla was upcoming as well, and we always and on campus it's a Mona, so that's a uptown where we have a whole heap a vibrant artist coming from out of Augustown and Papine and Tavern and the whole acre. So Iya Ingi was one of those artists that was from that area, and I just started out as well doing music, but no more so poetry, you know, and encounter Iya Ingi on campus, because we usually work on campus and we usually also go school, you know, because they gave us the opportunity to go school for free on campus. So that's where the energy just connect from day one. You know what I mean? As a Rasta youth, Iya Ingi always did have him I think him Tom and thing, and you know what I mean, office. Him I work in an office, you know, and myself did I work in an office too. But we are Rasta, you see what I say? And at that time, it wasn't even so popular for Rasta take any administrative role in an office, you know what I mean? And so we connected on that from then till this time.
So fast forward until just a few years ago, I think you reconnected a couple years ago.
Yes, when Iya Ingi came forward and, you know, in America, and we linked up from him there New York, from him, you know, from him there New York, in a New York, till him reach in Phoenix, Arizona. You know, we still keep the link, and this was just a great opportunity to work together on something, because we always say, yo, we want to do something, and it just came together organically.
And the rhythm that he chose is actually one rhythm that you had been sort of looking for in the style that it was played.
Yeah, well, actually, Captain Selassie, Overall, that's my dad's favorite song. Overall, Captain Selassie, I show his mercies overall. I Chuck Candy. And I'm telling you, I was always trying to, because I sing the song just because of growing up, always hearing my father sing it. I always singing the song, right? But I was always trying to find this song. I didn't even know the artist, but I was always trying to find the song, thinking that the song name was called, song title was Overall. So, you know what I mean, I just always, I tried to find that song till Iya Ingi one day just bring the rhythm, and I say, yo, my voice found the rhythm, and I think it's the Mama Delcy song, the Mama Delcy tribute. He did on it, right? And he's like, yo, I do the Mama Delcy tribute on this, and you want to touch off of that rhythm, yeah? It's one of them rhythm there with them lick over, the heavenless rhythm. And so, me get the rhythm, and he must say, yeah, because the rhythm there where I Chuck Candy upon, man, and he must say that song there, Captain Selassie. I must say, which song that, Captain Selassie? He must say, go over. I say, yo, you know me, I look for that song the long time. A Captain Selassie, I hit name. Yeah. So Zine, so it come into fullness now. You see me, which made it even sweeter for voice on the rhythm, because me did have this emotional attachment to the whole concept of that song. And my father, you know what I mean, big up my father. I'm still there in Kingston, Jamaica. I hold it top of the line. You see me? Big up. I'm big up my mother too. You see me? So we give thanks to mama and papa. You see? But you know, my father is one who really inspired that aspect. So when I got the rhythm now, you know, it makes it such a pleasure for voice on it. And for voice a good song too, because he gave me this rhythm for me to make a song. And I'm like, you know what? The best thing for me to do is do a collaboration with him on it. You see what I say? So I was the one who instigated the whole collaboration, because I'm like, the most impact we can make is both of us make this song. So that was
great.
Yeah, that was the whole reason behind the song. And I had already, as man say, is like writing the song, you know, and watching all that was happening in the world, in an American political landscape, and in the social landscape, the entertainment world, and watching how so many artists watering down their message to kind of please the media and to please this and to please that movement, and you know what I mean, all of that. you know, it just culminate into these lyrics. And it was right in the peak of the Epstein file release, right in the peak of P. Diddy thing, and learning about all these gruesome things that them doing with kids. You know, and fundamentally, you know, Rasta Creed is to protect the youths them. You know what I mean? It's the elders care for. You know what I mean? And the sick, you help the sick. So, you know, fundamentally is a Rastaman mission that, because when you realize that youths them a get murder and, you know, people a get manipulated and the weak them need strength, you know what I mean? It's a Rasta mission right there. And so, you know, I just find it most appropriate for put this, because Iya Ingi is a fire artist. Iya Ingi, them know Iya Ingi as the fire Ingi. Zine. And we were having a conversation before where did I talk about we blaze the fire. But blaze the fire in a way that it impact people and it uplift them. And you know what I mean, admonishment is one, but after admonishment, it must be encouragement and upliftment. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, just beat them down for leave them there. Yeah, bring them, shake them up, and then give them direction and solution. You know, so it's not just about burning down Babylon system, but recognizing that you have the power for to control your destiny and your way in life. You know what I mean? You don't need to rely on these corrupt system to make it. You know what I mean? Because you have the intelligence and the power, and all the answers are within. Just tap into that power and allow God to use you and lead you in the direction. He shall lead and direct thy path. You know, so that is my belief. You see what I'm saying? So when you open up yourself to this God consciousness, it will guide you and lead you in the way to your greatness. You know, and you don't have to compromise your thing. You don't have to sell your soul. You don't have to drink blood. You don't have to do none of these things.
You just have to
tap in and catch the wave. You see what I'm saying? So we give thanks, and you know what I mean, Susie has been there, you know, we give thanks, you know, for all the guidance and the help and the assistance and the support to getting these music out and to do it in a way that is we can present it to the world and make it wholesome, give it the balance of the male and the female balance. So that makes it even a more wonderful journey, a sweet journey to do all these little projects and do these little things and just put it out in the way that we feel that is just in accordance to how we live and how we want to bring a perspective of the world to people, you know? Or perspective of the world. Yeah, so.
Nice. So this is brain rot. So basically, brain rot could be said like if you let your mind to be hijacked,
it will degenerate. Yes.
Brain rot.
Yeah, the rot is talking about the degeneration of the mind. You know what I mean? It's now it's when your mind turn against you and you're not using your mind to liberate yourself, but using your mind to become more trapped, and it turn against you and break and now start pulling all these self-destructive things and destructive visions and manifestations in your life. It manifests in so many ways, in disease, in confusion, in chaos, you know, and all these things. When you allow your mind to run reckless, this is the fruits that it bear. So
when you're no longer controlling your mind, but your mind is controlling you.
Exactly.
Like, you know.
And it's working just from the programming that is out there and around.
Kind of program.
Yeah.
And ironically, brain rot is a phrase used by the youth today as a slang,
Yes.
which is a pretty sad thing because
Yes.
brain rot is not a cool thing, even though they're trying to make it like
They're
it's
trying to
cool.
make it cool.
And so that's part of the mass media manipulation
Exactly.
and societal ways. So talk about brain rot. What do the kids say it means? I don't
Well,
know.
the brain rot is just it's just engaging mindless activity. You see what I'm saying?
Is that
It's
cool
like
to them?
they find it cool because they it's like if you look at society right now, they're glorifying anarchism, chaos. You know what I mean? It's you see people out there in the street protesting, destroying this and that, and fire burn and all that. It's not orderly. So it's like a degenerative thinking, and they find fun in the anarchism. You know what I mean? It's like finding fun in these things, finding the fun and the joy in being out there and tearing up everything.
It's really base.
Yeah, we've been to like some of these little places where we've seen these skater kids and the music they play and all of that. They find it cool. It's like,
Well, some of that's cool.
yeah.
It's
It's
cool.
like a punk rock vibe, punk rock vibe.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But it gets wild, and everything have its place. But you can't run your entire life off anarchism. You know what I'm saying? Chaos.
Right. And there is that kind of music that has an angst vibe, which can be cool, but I think what's starting to happen now is that misuse of the energy through the music to hijack the minds rather than it being like a rebel anarchy punk vibe, talking about no government controlling them, versus now it's like it's a spiritual mess type
Yeah, it's a way.
of chaos.
When growing up, when we have this Rastafire, we want to tear down Babylon. We are warriors. We see ourselves as warriors. You know what I mean? So I get it with the youths. Them want to rebel against the system. Want to rebel against parents. Them want to rebel against rules. Them want to rebel against. They want to liberate, because at the end of the day, it's ultimate self-liberation, right? So they have this urge within them, like it's innate to want to break these system and break it down. But then when you don't provide them with an outlet to kind of do it in a way that
Is the path to
is
true liberation.
the path to
Yeah.
true liberation, then you'll find that they get caught up with, they identify with these systems that wants to break down,
Yeah,
but doing it
destructive.
in a destructive way.
Yeah.
So they get used as these foot soldiers and these minions to keep to perpetuate this chaos. And the easiest people them for catch to do this is the malleable, soft mind youths.
And so that's why it's very important your music has a sound that it does, because it's still cool. Like even some of your dance hall music is in the modern dance hall ways, but then you'll put in the message there, so it's like you're putting the proper doorway, another way for them to travel the right way.
We're showing them that conscious can be cool.
Yeah, so that's great.
Yeah, I mean, we say wicked, mix up the coach and the Gucci so wicked, Balenciaga and run down the bitches. You see what I say? So, we know how to kind of mix up the cool with the conscious.
Well, that's great. Yeah.
And make the young youth them rate the thing same way, you know what I mean? Because we still find a way as the new age Rasta, the space age Rasta, to make this consciousness still cutting edge and cool, because technology is not gonna stop for us. So we have to find a way how to utilize all of these as tools to empower and to continuously bring a certain self-awareness and engender a certain self-empowerment, within the youths them, and also keep it hip and cool and have a vibe same way.
So that said, how can the DJs or those who want to get your music hear this song? If they're a DJ and they want to play it, how could they contact? How did the listeners find it on the digital platforms? Tell them.
Well, it's on Spotify and all digital media platforms. Just put in Brain Rot, Rseenal, Rseenal, Iya Ingi. You can search it by any one of us or artist name. Iya Ingi or Rseenal, but Brain Rot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want all you worldwide DJs, all the DJs that are echoing, this music. You might as well echo this great message and to all your platforms. So we really appreciate that. And that's Brain Rot, Rseenal featuring Iya Ingi. Okay, and so where can people? I know you've got a website. What is the website?
The website donrasta.com. You can check out the merchandise. You can check out my art there. That's my artist aspect of my whole business. donrasta.com. You can check out even the talk show, Talk to Ras, which we about to get online again, get on stream again, and that's where you'll find us.
Okay, great. All right, well, any last thoughts about Brain Rot or anything you want to share with the people before we sign off?
Well, just go out and, check out the song. And please, support the movement. Follow me on Spotify. I need more traction over Spotify. Just check out all my latest stuff on Instagram. You get most of the most current stuff on Instagram.
Okay, great. All right, well, thank you for sharing your insights, and I hope the people are going to be able to full enjoy this song even more after now knowing a bit more context about it.
Yes, give thanks and big up to everybody out there, my fans, my family, my loved ones, my children, and all the people them who keep supporting the music and supporting Tsunami Force. Enough love. I am that I am, we declare that. What did he do them? It's Rseenal the Artillery, aka Don Rasta, original Don, no imposter.